Well, here at Two Rivers, we've been doing our videos from inside the sanctuary for a little while now. And one of the members of the church comes in and surprises me each week with a new congregation. It's wild. It's a different set of characters every single week. This week, some of them are repeats, some of them come back from week to week, but some of them here are new. And some of you might recognize some of these guys. Some of them have names. The pink panda, I don't know if it has a name. I think that one with the bunny, it looks like Stitch with the bunny suit on. Of course, you all know this is Spider-Man. I'm told this is a minion. I'm told this might be Bob. Not sure about that. And there's some other sort of unnamed characters. Here's a dragon. Uh-oh, lost the cow. Oh man, they're leaning on each other. It's hard to, they depend on each other. Here's a dragon with wings. And it's funny, oh no, I almost lost Bob. So here's the thing, this Bible story we shared today includes a line about winged creatures, or a seraph, as sometimes it's called. And it's the only time in the whole Bible where this word is used. We don't really know what. Isaiah had this dream. Isaiah was a man who was preaching about God and telling people about God and how they should act and how they should love one another. And in the middle of doing that, he had this incredible vision where he was in the temple. It was a building, bigger than this. And in that, he saw just the hem of a robe, and this was God's presence. And there also was a fire, kind of like our eternal flame, but much bigger. There was fire in the temple, just a constant reminder of God's presence. And he had this vision of a seraph, and it doesn't really give us a lot of details. But if of all these creatures, the one that it's most probably like might be this guy, actually. Talks about the winged creature. They have 6 wings, and 2 of his wings cover his eyes, and 2 of them cover his feet, and 2 of them are used to fly around. And in fact, this word, they think that it might kind of mean fire creature or snake creature. So in this vision of Isaiah of God, he saw this fire snake, flying fire snake. It's kind of wild, isn't it? Kind of exciting. It sounds like a great Marvel movie. It sounds like a character that Iron Man might have to fight. Or Spider-Man even would have to fight the great flying fire snake. And it's interesting because this vision of God to Isaiah, he's really scared. Because this creature is scary, because God is so big, it's kind of scary. And sometimes when we think about God, when we think about something big, when we think about a big task or a big chore that we have to do, a big project at school or something, meeting new people, or just this whole pandemic COVID thing, sometimes things can seem really scary. It kind of reminds me, and when we think about being afraid of God, I don't want anyone, and especially you guys, to ever be afraid of God. But in a sense, have you ever gone to a beach or stood on a top of a really tall building and seen a really great view, or gone to a mountain and seen a cliff? There's moments in our lives that are amazing and enormous and kind of scary. Right? You look at it at the ocean and it's so huge and the waves are so powerful. And you realize, I'm so little compared to this amazing thing. That's kind of how Isaiah felt when he faced God and when he saw the great fire snake. Oh my gosh, I'm so little compared to God. And yet, in that moment, he was also embraced by God. He was also loved by God. He was forgiven by God. And so I want you to remember that when we're faced with something big, and sometimes the presence of God in these grand moments can feel almost scary, can feel like so much. But it's in those moments too that God also reaches out and says, you are loved. You're okay. Maybe kind of like this little guy. Maybe that's what the seraphim looked like. There's nothing to be afraid of with him, is there? Well, I hope you're never afraid of God, but I hope you always realize just how big and powerful and wonderful God can be. And as we hear the story of Isaiah, we realize that sometimes we feel small, but it's in those moments where God can pick us up and make us realize, oh, you're much more mighty than you ever imagined.